A movement of node, when it's moving in and out of the transmission range, it changes the relationship with its neighbor, and it also changes its topology. Because of the changes in topology, there will be frequent link breaks. Finally, I would like to define what is mobility. You are designing a mobility model to mimic the real. So real movements, for example, if I take the military applications, so each soldier is going to carry a wireless phone, right, or a RF radio. So based upon the movement of the person, you are going to define the mobility. So yeah, the movement of the person is not predefined. You go to a destination based upon the traffic through what you go. You try to choose your own paths and reach the destination. So your mobility of the soldier is unpredictable. So that's what I would like to say. The mobility model attempts to mimic the real movements of the mobile node that changes its speed and direction with time. Whenever your speed and direction changes with time, automatically the movements, the moving pattern will also change. So this is about this is what I wanted to tell about the mobility model. Then next, what are the characteristics to define the mobility model? So here we have 5 different metrics which defines the characteristics of the mobility model. One is it could be in random based. Your mobility model can be random based. Your mobility model can be temporal dependency, or it could be a spatial dependency model, or geographical restriction model, or a hybrid structure model. So now what is going to be a random based model? Random based model is the movement of the nodes do not depend or have restrictions while you are designing the mobility within the defined area. So that means it do not depend upon anything, only on the current speed and your direction, the movements are going to happen. So random based models are going to be models without any dependency and restrictions invoked in the model. And temporal dependency models are models a node actual movements are influenced with its past movements. That means the movement of the current node will depend upon the previous locations of the node. That means you need to have the history of the node locations. That is what is meant by temporal dependencies. While spatial dependencies, the movement of the node is influenced by node around it. So when you want to draw the moving pattern of one particular node, you should know what are all the neighbors surrounding that node, and those nodes are going to have an influence over your movement of the node which you want to find out. That is going to be spatial dependencies. And geographical restriction, node movement restricted in a certain geographical area. That means you can fix it. Maybe I want to have the nodes only within the range of 30 kilometers. So you will be fixing a boundary for your movement of the nodes. If the node is going to move out of the boundary, then you are going to say your network is going to fail over here. So that means you are defining your boundary limits. So when it is moving within certain boundary limits, then we call it as a geographical restriction. And hybrid structure, all mobility metric classes are integrated to attain the structure. That means you have a planned structure over here, and within the planned structure, sometimes it may behave like a random based model, or it can behave like as a temporal dependence model, or whatever model. You can go in for a combination of different models to give a hybrid structure. So to have more details about all these models, you can refer to the paper published by Fan and Helmy. This paper gives a better detail, still more details about these 5 metrics. And next, according to Camp et al. In the paper published in 2002, they have classified mobility models into 2 basic types. One is the synthetic entity mobility model, And another is the group mobility model. Synthetic entity mobility model, they have given 7 different models, and group mobility model, 5 different models are given here. So generally, synthetic entity mobility models, the mobile nodes whose movements are independent. As I said, we had random based model. So random based model, the movements are independent. That means each node will have its own speed and direction, and it will be moving with the at that particular time, whatever speed and direction it is, it will be moving in that direction. So it does not depend upon, or it's not influenced by any other parameters. Whereas group mobility model, the movements are dependent. So that means it depends upon the past history. It can also be influenced by your neighbors or the neighboring nodes. So now, so in this particular session of today, I'll be just dealing only with the synthetic entity model. The first 5 models, I'll be explaining you about the first 5 models. And remaining other models, you can have an idea from this camp paper. So far, I'll be dealing with the random walk mobility model, which is the most commonly used model. And most of the researchers have used this through simulations. They have generated these models. And we have random waypoint mobility model, which is also most commonly used. Then I'll be going through random direction mobility model. Then we have boundless simulation area mobility model, Gauss-Markov mobility model. So these 5 models I'll be explaining in detail. So next we'll go into random walk mobility model. So again, I've given the classification, the entire classification. I said the mobility models have 5 metrics. One is random models, models with temporal dependency, as is shown in the previous slides. Model with spatial dependency, geographical restrictions, and hybrid structure. So under random models, we'll be studying about random waypoint, random direction, and random walk model. And temporal dependency, we'll be studying, we'll be seeing Gauss-Markov and smooth random. So this first part I'll be dealing. And models with spatial dependency, we have reference point groups. And geographical restrictions, it's based on graph-based or map-based, obstacle-based or Voronoi based. And hybrid structure, we have free space. I said hybrid structure, you'll be having a planned structure. So it will be either a freeway or Manhattan way or catastrophic scenario, anything. So these are the basic classifications of the mobility models. So next, we'll deal with the random walk model. In short, you can call it as RWM, or it is also known as the Brownian motion. So the best example is, many of you would know about the snooker game, right? So few would have played or may not have played. So this model was basically developed from that particular game concept. So the mathematical model was developed by Einstein in 1926. And here you can see the moving patterns. So if you assume this is your starting point of the node, it takes many directions to reach the end. So you can see this is the end. This can be the starting point or the end point, anything. So you have 2 end lines over here. So the moving pattern, when you look into, when you simulate, the pattern would be at this particular instant of time, the pattern would be as shown in this figure. Again, when you simulate, you may get another pattern. So at every instant of time, you get different patterns, and the moving pattern is going to be an unpredictable pattern. You are in a position that you cannot predict in which direction or with what speed your node is going to move in the next instant of time. So now the mobile nodes moves from current location to new location by choosing a direction and speed. I said the direction is chosen within a range of 0 to 2 pi, and the speed is also defined between it should be Vmin comma Vmax. So between Vmin and Vmax, that is the velocity, minimum velocity and maximum velocity. So with that it moves. So how it moves is, you have, so if you take the snooker game, you have a stick. With a stick, a ball is hit, and with the force the ball moves, if any other balls are present in the motion of its path, it hits that ball, and that finally your target is the targeted ball should fall into the holes which is present over there. So that is the way the game is proceeding. So here also the same thing. A node moves with certain velocity and in some direction, and as it moves, it either it should reach the boundaries, or it should wait for some time in some location, and then again it should move with certain velocity and time, velocity and speed. So each instant of time, the distance, the movement of the nodes is going to be taking place either with a time interval, or it is going to take place with a distance interval. So that means if you are designing a node to move for certain distance, it will move for that distance and it will stop, and again it will further proceed. So likewise, this node movements are going to happen. If an MN which moves according to this model reaches a simulation boundary, it bounces off the simulation boundary with an angle determined by the incoming direction. So that's what I said. When it goes and hits a boundary, with the force which it is going to hit, it is going to in turn take up a different direction and bounce back to your center of the area. So this particular model, you called it as the random walk model. But in this model, you see that you have sudden stops and sharp turns. So you look at the turns, all the turns are too sharp. So when I try to say we want a realistic model, we never have sharp turnings and as well as sudden stops. So since we are having sharp turning and sudden stops, this model it cannot help in modeling realistic applications. So this is about the random walk model, and it's also known as the Brownian motion. The next model is going to be the random waypoint mobility model. So random waypoint mobility model, we call it as a memoryless mobility model, or you can say that why it is memoryless, because it does not depend upon the past history. That means your past locations and speed will not influence the current movements. So here the current speed and direction of MN is independent of, that's what I say, it's independent of its past speed and direction. And when you try to look into this movement over here, I can say it is similar to the random walk. This also has sharp, sharp turnings and sudden stops in your movements. So, but the difference between random waypoint model and random walk model is, in random waypoint model you have a pause time, and in the random walk model we do not have a pause time. So in the random waypoint mobility model, if your pause time is going to be equal to 0, then this model will start behaving like your random walk model. So pause time, so when I give a pause time is equal to some, say some half an hour or 1 hour. So it means that when node is say in location x1, y1, and it moves to the location x2, y2 with some speed and velocity, with some speed and direction. Then when I say pause time is 30 seconds, it means that at the newly generated location, your node is going to wait for 30 seconds, and after 30 seconds, it starts its journey to the next location. So that is what is the need of pause time. If you want your nodes to wait for some time, you can make it to wait for some time by making use of the pause time. If you don't give a pause time, it becomes a random walk model. So once this time expires, the mobile node chooses a random destination in the simulation area with a speed that is uniformly distributed between Vmax and Vmin. So how are we going to choose the locations? I'll show you in the next slide. So this is how I have given you the simulation boundary. The simulation boundary, you see the center is 0, 0. That is your x and y values are 0, 0. Your x will change between x min and x maximum. and y is changing from y min and y maximum. So the entire boundary I have divided into 4 quadrants. Okay, you can see the all the 4 quadrants. The corner of the quadrants, you can see the top right corner, it is x max, y max. Then the top left is x min, y max. Then bottom left is x min, y min, and bottom right is x max, y min. So the given boundary I am dividing into several 4 quadrants. So now you can look into the directions. When you have at the value x max is equal to 0, the direction is going to be 180 degrees. And likewise, you can look into this. We'll see. Okay, from here, x min comma 0, direction is 0 or 360 degrees, and x min y in, the direction is 45 degrees. 0 comma y in, it is 90 degrees. X max comma y in, it is 135 degrees. X max comma 0, it is 180 degrees. X max comma y max, it is 225 degrees. 0 comma y max, it is 270 degrees. And at x min comma y max, it is 315 degrees. So what is all these going to represent? If your node is within the boundary, we have no problems. In case if the node moves out of the boundary, so let me assume, as I have given here, let me assume the node is beyond the range of x max and y max. So I have given xi of t is greater than x max and yi of tau is equal to y max. That means my node is not in the boundary. It is outside the boundary, the simulation boundary. So I need to bring the node within the boundary. To bring the node within the boundary, what I do is I make a change in direction. I say the node to move in a direction 225 degrees. Take the direction as 225 degrees and come into the boundary. So now what happens? This phi value is going to be substituted in the equations, and then you can get your what is your new x location and y location. In case if my node is say in your extreme bottom towards your left. So if it is in the extreme bottom towards your left, then it will push your node into the simulation boundary with an angle of 45 degrees. And with that, you will be able to calculate what is the new xi and new yi. So likewise, you will have 8 different cases. So one extreme 4 corners, and the walls of the each quadrant, based on the walls of each quadrant, you will be having, totally you will have 8 different cases. So based on all the 8 cases, a validity check is done in implementing the RWPM for node to move within the simulation area. So that means you'll have all 8 different positions, all different positions can be simulated. So even if your nodes are moving out of the boundary, you can push it or bring back it into the simulation area. So this is the random waypoint mobility model. Then the next model is this is a random direction model. So random direction model, can anyone tell me what is the difference? Why do we go for random decision model, a direction model? So I'll just continue. So here when we look into the random waypoint model, you see that all the nodes are clustered, or it forms a group at the center of the simulation area. So almost at the center of the simulation area, all the nodes are being grouping up over here. So to avoid this clustering of the nodes, the clustering of the nodes, we call it as the density waves. To avoid this clustering of the nodes, we go into what is called as the random direction model. So that means what happens when I look into random waypoint model, I can see that if you have a simulation boundary of say, here it is -4 to 4, that means it's almost 8 square miles. When I say 4 by 4 miles, or I can say 8 square miles, you can see that almost your nodes are just within 3 to 4. It's not covering the entire boundary of the simulation area. So now what I do is I want to spread it over the entire simulation boundary. To spread it over the entire simulation boundary, you see that the density waves can be reduced by making use of the random direction model. So all the nodes are getting stuck to the boundaries. That means it's covering the entire coverage area. We are increasing the coverage area or the utility of the coverage area. So now the random direction model was created to overcome the density waves produced by RWPM. And these nodes, again, they choose a random direction which they travel, and it is similar to the random walk mobility model. And the nodes are all moving to the borders of the simulation area in that direction. So once it hits the borders, with the force it hits, the direction changes, and it keeps traversing as long as it reaches border level, and again the process continues. Once the simulation boundary is reached, the MN passes for a specified time. This also you can choose whether you need your mobile node to pass or you do not pass. If you want to pass, you can fix the pass time and allow it to stay at the borderline for some time, and then you can make it move to the other directions. And the choice of the direction is going to be between 0 to 360 degrees, and they continues the process. Now the current speed and direction of MN is independent of its past speed and direction. That's what I said. These random based models, they are all independent models. Okay. So first we saw about random walk model. Next we saw about the random waypoint model. Now we saw about the random direction model. And next we have boundaryless models. So boundaryless models, or you can call this as also modified models. So looking into this, you can see that this model can be helpful for real-time generating the real-time moving patterns. Why? Because you have smooth movements of the nodes. So previous three models, the movements were too sharp and you can have sudden stops. To overcome that, we can make use of the boundless models where the movements are very smooth. So we can say the mobile nodes continue to choose random directions, but they are no longer forced to travel to simulation boundary before stopping to change directions. That means the change in direction is so smooth that you do not know that the changes are taking place. Then a MN chooses a random direction and selects a destination anywhere along the direction of travel, and MN then pauses at these destinations before choosing a new random direction. Last we are going to see about what is the Gauss-Markov mobility model. So this model was proposed by Liang and Haas. Actually, this was used for personal communication system applications, and later they are applied on protocol studies of MANET. And for the protocol studies, they tried to generate the locations, and they saw that this is the best model which can mimic the realistic movements of your mobile nodes. And how are we going to understand the movement of the mobile nodes is basically depends upon the parameter alpha. This alpha is going to is called as a tuning parameter, and this alpha takes a value between 0 and 1. So based upon the alpha value, you can say whether the model is going to behave as a Gauss-Markov mobility model, that is GMM. And if your alpha is equal to 0, it is going to behave as a random waypoint mobility model. If alpha is equal to 1, it is going to be a Gauss-Markov mobility model. And if alpha is equal to 0.5, the nodes are all going to move in a linear fashion. I can say it is going to take a straight line path. So you can get, with this Gauss-Markov mobility model, you can get all the three characteristics. One is it can act as a random waypoint mobility model, or it can act as a linear model, or it can act as a Gauss-Markov mobility model. So that depends upon the alpha parameter. So these models try to create a more realistic behavior of the ML that is best suitable for real life scenarios. So how are we going to take? Similarly, as if we have a simulation boundary. So there we, based upon the directions, we define the directions, same as that we also have the definition of the directions over here. So this mean direction is nothing but, yeah, here I have done pi dash. Pi dash is the mean direction, S dash is the mean speed, and S tau is the new speed, and theta tau is the new direction. So alpha is going to be the tuning parameter. So if alpha is equal to 0, so that means what happens? Your new directions, it's going to become, I mean it's the moving pattern is going to be same as that of your random waypoint mobility model. And once we are able to get what is S tau and theta tau based upon the new speed and new direction, we can go in for finding out the new node positions. So these are the mathematical equations which can help you to develop your Gauss-Markov mobility model. Again, here also, if your nodes are moving out of the constrained areas, you can bring in by taking the mean direction values as indicated in this figure. So whether if it is moving in this, if it is available in the extreme left top corner, then you need to take the mean direction equal to 315 degrees and bring the node into your simulation boundary. So this is just an example. So now we'll go into the 3 cases using random waypoint mobility model, using Gauss-Markov mobility model, and also without any mobility model, what is going to be the effect. So as seen earlier, magnet reliability with or without capacity, that is case 1 or case 2, and using propagation model case 3, case 4. All these models we have mimicked the node moving patterns using RWPM. This was used. So now in this particular thing, I'll be showing out what will be the reliability values with RWPM. Already we have seen what will be the reliability values with Gauss-Markov mobility model, and what is going to be the reliability when we don't have any mobility models. So now the assumptions, same as usual. Network is homogeneous, operational start of the mission time. And here we are considering 3 different algorithms. One algorithm with random waypoint model with 0 pause time, and Gauss-Markov mobility model is going to be the second algorithm. And the third algorithm, I said no mobility model is considered. Instead, each nodes, we are deploying the nodes by randomly generating the node locations. If I have 18 nodes, I'll be generating 18 node locations. If I have more than 18 nodes, I'll be generating all the node locations. So that will be the initial locations, and then later with the mobility model which we want, we'll be getting the new load locations. So these 3 models we are going to consider. So how are we going to model? So this is the parameters which we are considering for modeling your network. So here, this we have studied already. The network model, the node status, the link status are all the same. Only changes we are taking is the equation given here is for RWPM, and the second equation, this is going to be for the GMM. And the third case, we are going, the new node positions is going to be the random generation. So once we get all this, we check in for the connectivity, and finally we get the reliability. So now this was the node movements which was generated for the RWPM. So you can look into this. I have just taken for one single node. Initially, you can see here 0. That means the node was located at this location, and you can see how it has traversed. And this is the for the entire duration of 72 hours. So each hour where the node has been located, you can easily understand from this. So initially this indicates the 0th position, and from here it has gone to second position, and this is the third position, fourth, and so on. And you can see almost it has come back to near the center of the, something around 0.5, minus 0.5. You have the X value for the 72nd position, and Y value is something about around minus 3.8. So these are the X values. So you can see the change in X values. At the same time, you see that all the ends are pointed or sharp, and you can say it is sudden stop also happens in your node movements using RWPM. So now when I go into next with GMM, that is your Gauss-Markov mobility model. So I said based upon your tuning parameter, we are going to get the different models. So I said when alpha is equal to 0, then it behaves as a random waypoint mobility model. So you can understand how the moving pattern look over here. At the same thing, when I have alpha is equal to 1, you see a linear motion takes place. So from the 0th hour to the 72nd hour, you see that all the nodes are following a straight line path. The node is following a straight line path. And when I take alpha is equal to 0.5, so the bottom one is going to be 0.5. It is little smoother when compared to that of your alpha is equal to 0. So based upon the tuning parameter, you can go in for the you can make the movements of the nodes. Either you can take a linear motion, or you can have a smooth motion, or you can have sharp turns and stops. So this is the Gauss-Markov mobility model. And next, this I said we are not considered any mobility. So I have considered two different nodes over here. The black ones indicate one node, say it is U1, and red indicates the 18th node. So this you can see the movement of the nodes at different instant of time. So at say U1 node at tau t is equal to 0, it was something around 0.45, x is 0.45, and y is something around minus 0.2, some value greater than minus 0.2. And next, when it has gone to the at the instant of 5 hours, 5th hour, you see that it has almost x has become a negative value, and y is still some negative. So likewise, you can easily understand the movement of the nodes, how it is happening. So it's not only necessary that you need a specific mobility model. Even without having a mobility model, you can generate your own locations, and with the locations you can use your you can keep on changing the node locations to get your MANET reliability. So these are the three models which we have simulated, and I've shown you the result. And now we look into the topologies. So when I consider the topologies of the network at 4 instant of time at initially, so at the start of the mission time, you can look into the first plot. All the 18 nodes are connected. So I told that initially all nodes are active. So since all nodes are operational, and I see that all the nodes are getting connected, and the network has been established. And when your network reaches to about 25th hour, you can see the change in topologies. That means the nodes are moving out. So then you can see in your first plot, node 12 had been a neighbor of 11, 3, 17, and 2. Now, when you look into the second plot, you can see the 12 here. 12 has neighbors as 16, 4, and 11. So this shows how the changes in node mobility has taken place. Node movements have taken place. And when you look into the 50th hour, you see that some nodes are getting isolated. Though the node is getting isolated, here the network is still connected, because if I assume one is the source node and 18 is your destination node, 1 and 18 are connected. It's not directly connected, but still it's connected through the intermediate nodes. And at the end of the mission time, you see that 17 though it is the node 17 has failed. Why it has failed? Because there would be several reasons. Either there would have been node failures or it would have been a link failure. So that means it had been completely isolated one. So anything would have been possible. So with I have just given here 4 topologies. That means but one particular iteration you can get 72 different topologies. So these I had generated these topologies considering the mobility models, whether it is going to be the RWPM or it is going to be the Gauss-Markov mobility model. So now without mobility model. So without mobility model also you can generate topology. So looking into these 4 different and likewise when you come into the transmission range. So when the transmission range is increasing, when at lower transmission range we have less connectivity. Larger transmission range, we have good connectivity. I mean, number of networks connected is good, and hence we have higher reliability. So reliability increases when you increase your transmission range. So if in all, finally, what I would like to conclude is whether you make use of a mobility model or not, it does not have significant impact on your network reliability. So without using a mobility model, we can go in for random generation of the node locations, and that through that random generation, we can get different topologies. We can have the connectivity analysis, and finally we can see that the impact on the reliability. One thing what I would like to hear is making use of no mobility model. It means that we are reducing the computational calculations, because when I say random waypoint mobility model, it has more computational calculations. Even Gauss-Markov has more computational calculations. This computation calculations, reducing the computational calculations is an advantage in the case by making use of the no mobility model. So in summary, so we have studied various cases. So here I would like to say in the Gauss-Markov model, when degree of randomness, or that is called as the tuning parameter alpha, has no impact on the magnet reliability, since it has no significant impact on the connectivity. So whether alpha is going to be 0 or whether it is going to be 1 or 0.5, whatever it is, it does not. The only thing is, by making use of these models, we are have a computational burden, and this computational burden can be reduced when we don't consider any mobility. Instead, we can randomly generate the locations according to our choice. And the modeling for the magnet, we have made use of the geometric random graph, and the failure of the nodes, we have considered Weibull distribution, and we have converted a network with imperfect nodes and links into perfect nodes, and then we try to calculate your reliability. And the maximum achievable reliability will not be greater than that of the reliability which you had calculated for 2TR or ATR or AOTR, whatever it is. So, and with capacity also we saw, and also the shadowing models. Thank you. And these are the references for the for this particular. So here I've given references with books. The main important reference, if you want to know more about reliability, you can refer to Mishra KB, Reliability Engineering, a Perspective. This is a handbook of performability engineering. And for capacity wireless network, this is a very good paper, Gupta P and PR Kumar, published in 2000. And the best book for mobile radio propagations is going to be Rappaport, Wireless Communication, published in 2002. So these are the books which you can refer. And for mobility models, as I said, you have two papers. One is Camp et al. At 2002. Another paper is Fan and Helmi. These papers you can refer for your further future work, research work. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, shall we take questions, ma'am?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, now participants can ask questions. You can unmute yourself and you can ask questions. Yes, participants can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions.
One question by Samantha. What is the difference between transmission range and network coverage? Right? Transmission range and network coverage. So each and every device has a transmission range. Each and every device has a range through which a signal can be transmitted. And network coverage area is going to be the geographical area where you're deploying your network. You're deploying, if you're deploying a network in the area of 64 square miles, that means your nodes, those nodes which are within the 64 square miles connected, provided that each and every node are within the transmission range. So I think you got the difference. You deploy a network. Suppose if I say, for example, let's say the corona affected area. I want to know what is the statistics over there. Then I need to deploy a network over there. If the corona is affected in an area of say 3 or 4 kilometers, so we block that particular area, and we have few nodes deployed over there. And if these nodes are moving within that area, covering the entire geographical area of 3 to 4 kilometers, the 3 to 4 kilometers you call it as a network coverage area. And the nodes which are adjacent with each other within, so each node will have certain transmission range. So when they are adjacent to each other, they may get connected and transmission or reception of signals can take place. So am I clear with that? Okay.
Hello, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam, good morning.
Good morning.
Madam, using these models, how we can improve the bandwidth or power in a reliable manner, madam?
Using
as you explained just now, the all models, ma'am. What are the main applications in taking care of the parameters of bandwidth and power of reliable
That's
manner?
when it spoke about the capacity models, right? We went in for the calculations of the received power in terms of signal to noise ratio. We made use of the Shannon's equation, where capacity is equal to bandwidth into. You remember that?
Yes, ma'am, I remember.
So based upon the bandwidth which you are going to take, you can define what is going to be the capacity, and with the demand. If you need a higher demand, you can demand is low, but your link capacity should be higher than the demand. Then automatically you can go in for the calculations of reliability. Based upon the choice of the bandwidth, how much you want. And bandwidth is going to be user defined.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
User defined. You can define your bandwidth.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And thus, model selection has impact on security in MANET. Bhargavi, I have not done any work on security. So you can look into papers, maybe that can help you to answer this. And what is mobility? Mobility is basically the...
Good morning, madam.
Yeah. Yes.
Madam, mobility is zero. Zero means it is a static one.
Mobility is
Zero.
mobility is 0 means
It is a static one.
it becomes static, fixed network.
Okay. Madam, I want to give feedback to you, madam. Madam, excellent session, madam. Your explanation is very nice and easy to understand. And your clarification will be very easy and to understand, madam.
Okay,
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Excellent
Thank you.
session.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I don't know who has asked this. What is a common point in all the models?
Yes, ma'am.
So there is no common point. There's nothing to say in this. Actually, you can say all common point in the models which I have discussed. They are all random-based models. So when you compare each and every model, if I say random walk model, you have sharp turns and sudden stops. Okay. And when I come into a random waypoint model, mobility model, you have the density weights. That means clustering of all the nodes at the center or some corner. So you can say the clustering means it's going to be in one group. It doesn't cover the entire coverage area. And when you come into the random direction model, what it means is random direction model tries to overcome the density waves which occurred in your random waypoint model. That means the movements which is as a cluster is going to be spread out throughout the simulation boundary so that you can have the entire, all the nodes can cover the entire coverage area. And the last model which we saw was the, we saw the boundless model and as well as the Gauss-Markov model. So when I talked about the boundless model, so in previous three cases, you had sharp turns and sudden stops. So that was reduced by making use of the boundless model. That means the movements were made to be smoother, wherein you yourself cannot identify how the change in directions happening over there. And next, last we saw about the Gauss-Markov model. So Gauss-Markov model is the best model I can say, where it mimics. It can mimic a random waypoint mobility model, or it can also mimic the linear model, or it can also mimic the smooth movements. So based upon the tuning parameter alpha which is taken. So as I to say, each model has its own points to be talked about. Any book on MANET protocols? Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe there is one book written by Baswaraju. I'm not sure about the title.
Hello.
So
Hello, ma'am.
yes, sir.
Ma'am, can you please give few topics related to the research perspective in terms of IoT and ad hoc network?
IoT and ad hoc network. If you can send me your mail ID, I'll tell you about that, sir.
Sure, ma'am.
Right.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I think there are no questions.
Previously, Samatha has posted one query, ma'am. What is the difference between transmission range and network range?
I've already addressed that, sir.
Address it. Oh, sorry.
Starting only I have told about that.
Yes. Sorry.
I told about the COVID area and all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
It's okay, sir.
Any other questions from the participants? So I hope no, ma'am.
Simulation softwares are present now for magnets. You have what's that? Network simulators, OpSims, GloboSims. So you can use any of the softwares. And
Any more questions?
any more questions?
I hope no, ma'am. You covered all the topics from all the corners.
Okay.
Okay, shall we? Ma'am, even asking me to provide your email ID, ma'am. Shall I share, ma'am?
Okay. My so you can. I'll write it in the chat box.
Yeah, please. Ma'am.
Where is the chat? So my email ID, you can have padmavati.n@vishnu.edu.in. So I have just given this. So that is my email ID.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
So Padmavati, it's a practice in Andhra that you write it as I in place of Y. So please note it is bathy.n@vishnu.edu.in.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Now I request the participants, any one of you can unmute yourself and please give the feedback regarding. So rather than giving feedback from my side, it's very great to take the feedback from the participants. The participants can unmute yourself.
Hello, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is Pushpalata, ma'am, from Siddhartha Engineering College.
Okay.
Yeah, this is really very interesting section, ma'am. This is very helpful to my PhD research. So you have given really very informative session, ma'am. This is the first time I in the FDP of Mannet, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello.
Sir, please.
Yeah. This is Sushil Kumar from Mumbai. Really a wonderful and an excellent delivery system, ma'am. I really salute you for such a wonderful session, and it was really helpful. And it's really helpful even for me in doing my PhD because I am working on wireless sensor networks.
Okay.
So it is related definitely to Manets also. So
you're working on what, sir?
Wireless sensor networks.
Okay.
Wireless sensor networks.
Yes, sir.
I'm working on the protocol side, ma'am.
Okay.
So definitely, it was really wonderful and helpful for me, especially to attend your session. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for those words.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Very nice session. All things are clear easily. I am from Lucknow.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Yes. Any other participants want to talk with ma'am?
Hello, ma'am. I'm Shrikant from CVR, ma'am. CVR College of
Engineering. Finally, I would like to tell one more point. So those who want to do your research, there are a lot of areas that can be explored in this. So to speak of in the area of protocols, still protocol development for application of MANET is still going on. There's a lot of scope in that particular area. That is one area. Second area is you can think about clustering aspects of MANET. So far what I have dealt is we have considered the topology as a single cluster. In case if I divide it into multiple groups, so when I divide it into clusters, what is going to be the effect of this this way of distributing your nodes on the network performance can be studied. So that can also be concentrated. So protocol issues, next is clustering, and next is how to distribute the nodes. So here distribution of nodes and just yeah, as a simulation, we are just trying to distribute it uniform distribution. But in reality, we cannot have uniform distribution because we do not know the movements. It is unpredictable. For the case of studies, we are taking it as a uniform distribution. But if we try to think about the realistic scenarios where uniform distribution do not fit in, then automatically the change in the network parameters will have significant effect. So there can be studies done on considering the node distributions non-uniformly. So these three areas you can consider. And next, as one of our participant has suggested, try to go in for combination of areas. So like you can say VLSI with communication or signal processing with different applications can be considered. And we can also study that when we say VLSI with communication, that is both are entirely different area, but you can try for a chance to look into what can be the effects on the performance of communication systems. There are many, work has also started by combining these two, VLSI with communications. So these three things I would like to, if those are really waiting for doing research or in process of doing the research, you can look into these three areas. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And one more participant want to talk with you, ma'am. Previously,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Shrikant from CVR College of Engineering, ma'am.
So your voice is not audible, sir.
So please speak louder, sir. Speak louder.
Okay, sir. I'm Shrikant from CVR College of Engineering, sir. Hyderabad.
Yes.
Ma'am, currently I'm working in the security issues in the wireless sensor network. I'm
Yes, sir.
trying to develop a reliable protocol for wireless sensor network, ma'am. You have given a valuable information where it will be helpful to do my research, ma'am. You completely given about on what parameters I need to concentrate on reliability. That entire your work is presented, ma'am. There is a valuable suggestion. Thanks a lot, ma'am. You've given me complete path how to do the research. In what areas I need to concentrate for achieving the reliability. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, any other participant want to
Good
talk
morning,
with
ma'am.
ma'am?
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, this is Aditya, madam, from Hyderabad.
Yes, sir.
Madam, actually, my work is going on massive MIMO wireless communication, madam. Actually, in this, my part is to reduce. Yes, ma'am. Is it audible, ma'am?
Your voice is, there are breaks in your voice, sir.
Ma'am.
So I hope you're
Actually, my thought is. Yes. Madam.
Yeah. Sir,
There's a break in your voice, sir.
Now it is all right, ma'am. Now it is all right.
You speak a bit louder, sir.
Sir, speak loudly, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Speak loudly.
Yeah, madam. Actually, my area is wireless communication massive MIMO network, madam.
Okay.
In
Okay.
that, my thought is to reduce the power consumption of the base station, madam,
Okay.
where n number of users are having the transmission process. In such process, my idea is to reduce the power consumption at the transmitter side, at the base station.
Okay.
In such process, madam, I'm willing to improve the energy efficiency
Okay.
or spectral efficiency, but it is not obtaining while improving the spectral efficiency or energy efficiency. Ultimate goal is power consumption should be reduced, madam, but power
Okay.
consumption is not reducing as far as improving the energy efficiency.
Okay.
In such case, in which way I have to go through my idea implementation so that I can able to manage power consumption and energy efficiency and spectral efficiency, or else throughput, whatever it may. From
Sir,
your
both
side,
there is
any
a
suggestion?
there is a trade-off in what you talk. Power consumption reduce and efficiency increase. Both are contradictory actually.
Obviously, if power consumption reduced means the energy efficiency also increases, madam.
What specific model have you been using, sir?
In such case, madam, we are approaching.
Yeah, because I would like to know what model you have used or method you have used to go in for all these calculations.
Few regression techniques we are using, madam, in such case, madam.
So why I'm asking is because I would like to look into the models to give you a better answer for that. So maybe if you can send me a mail or something with the concepts, I'll be able to look into that and tell you.
Sure, madam. Sure, madam. Sure. I'll contact you through email, madam. Thank you, madam. Nice session, and I got information regarding that.
Yeah. Okay. So when after looking at that, I'll tell you.
I published few papers in wireless sensor networks, madam. Whereas I utilized stable election protocols and zonal stable election protocol and threshold stable election protocol and comparison between them. Thank you, madam. I'll contact you via email, madam. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. So I hope all the participants are happy with the session, ma'am. And we have covered all the 360 degrees from all the corners in the networking side. Ma'am, really, the session is very interesting, ma'am. Since due to this COVID-19, we have conducted nearly 8 to 9 sessions, ma'am. In the total sessions, your session got very good response from the participants, ma'am, actually. So I really thank for having such a good session here. And
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
really, we should thank you, ma'am. We should thank you for giving such an opportunity to deliver such a valuable things, ma'am. And even in the WhatsApp group, we received plenty of messages, ma'am. Regarding that, many of the participants are telling that the session which you are delivering is very much useful for the research side. Research for doing the research, that session is very interesting and very useful also. Since the participants is less, but the one who has log into a session, they are utilizing the resource, ma'am. Really, it's very interesting and quite useful also, ma'am. And the participants also, I will share the one who missed the session. I will share the link. I will upload it into YouTube, and I will share in the WhatsApp group also. If anyone has missed the session, they can use the service by taking the YouTube video. And really, the session is good, and I hope all the participants receive the feedback form. You please fill the feedback form, so the certificates will be issued, sent to your mail ID within 2 or 3 days. Within 2-3 days, you will get all the certificates from our side. And really, thank you, ma'am. And now I would like to call upon our Dean of the College, Dr. Bhaskar Garu, to give the vote of thanks for him. Sir, please.
Hello. Good afternoon, madam.
Hello.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much, madam, for our acceptance for giving the lecture, 3-day lectures. Many of our students and out of our institutions students gave very good feedback for these 3 days lectures, madam. I thank. First of all, I thank our management and our beloved principal, Dr. Suresh Garu, to encourage to conduct these sessions. And I also thank our EC HOD, Mr. Manohar, and also thank CSC HOD Rajesh Garu, and all the team members who are involved in this event. All the participants I hope all the participants enjoyed these 3 day sessions. And finally, our team, total college team, worked in this all the sessions. And thank you very much, madam, for your kind cooperation during these 3 days, and very interesting lectures which were given in 3 days. In future course of time, we contact you, madam, in this regard, and subject wise or any research side also, because as you are acting as I think you are also as acting as dean. Finally, once again, I thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the session will close by. Okay.
Ma'am, again, thank you from my side also, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Sir, by evening I'll send the PPTs so that you can send.
Yes, ma'am. Please, ma'am. Many of the participants are asking, please send the PPTs, and they're asking some kind of material also, ma'am. If you're having any material regarding these networks, they're asking the material also. If you're having, please send.
Material at this stage may not be possible. PPT I'll send.
Yeah, ma'am. It's okay, ma'am. It's okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. For all the participants, I will send the material which was posted, which was sent by the ma'am in the WhatsApp groups. You please utilize that. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you for once again.
Am I there in the WhatsApp group? So WhatsApp group is what?
I mean, for the communication with the participants, we created one WhatsApp group, ma'am.
Okay, I'll send it to you, or I'll send it to EC HOD.
Yeah, we send to EC HOD, ma'am. Sir will send it to all the data to the groups, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Right, ma'am. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.